WSMN, its owners and/or associates.
Welcome to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman, a leading expert in professional coaching, clinical hypnosis, and energy clearing. Lois is an award-winning author of Chronicles of Hope. She has decades of experience in advanced hypnosis techniques, has conducted highly effective success coaching programs that have helped clients discover ways to achieve success, empower themselves, their families, as well as holistic practitioners to expand their practices. Get ready to be empowered with your host, Lois Herman.
Good morning and welcome to Inspiring Hope. I am your host, Lois Herman, and I'm here to inspire you with positive messages and celebrate people who are making a difference in our world. When we focus our thoughts and energies on truth, honesty, and integrity, we create powerful shifts that cause us to be more positive and peaceful. As we lift our energy, we empower everyone around us. If we each do what we can to make small shifts in awareness, we create ripples of hope. Join us as catalysts for positive change for our families, our communities, and our world at large. I hope you are inspired by today's show. And today I'd like to welcome you to Holy Week. Today is Palm Sunday, the day Jesus was celebrated as he rode into Jerusalem, only to be betrayed, brutalized, and crucified shortly after. Traditionally, this week before Easter is one of introspection, prayer, and faith. This year has been a long year of brutal fear, conflict, and confusion for all of our world. And how has it affected you? Is your faith stronger than your fear? Spring is a time of new beginnings, new growth, and new inspiration. With all of the uncertainty in our world, how are you handling the shifting energies? Many people are feeling these strong energies in a deep and powerful way. Some are empaths who are aware of the energy shifts. Others only act out without conscious awareness. Being able to feel another's energy is a gift and a curse. Toxic energy can bog down sensitive, empathic ones, so they have a difficult time performing what they need to do. Even before COVID, many sensitive healers were stepping back from helping others because it was affecting their energy in a challenging way. With the onslaught of negativity and continued bombardment of fear, the dense energy has accelerated, greatly affecting many healers. My guest today, Peter Van Twuyver, is an incredible healer who is concerned with how these energies are affecting others. He decided to create an international summit to provide healing for the healers. In a moment, we'll be speaking with him about what he does, his concerns, and all the teachers who have stepped up to share their tips and suggestions in this amazing summit that he's created that will unfold in a few weeks. You're listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN Live 1590 or 95.3 FM. Please help us share these messages. Watch the videos on my YouTube channel or website, loisherman.com, and join our Hope community for support and inspiration at chroniclesofhope.net. As we look to the promise of spring, we embrace longer days filled with increased warmth and sunshine. This is an important time to shift our energy toward faith and hope for a bright future. Faith is expecting something good will happen, such as having faith that spring will come after a long, dark winter. We have faith that the sun will rise in the morning, and faith that things will change for the better. We must have faith that goodness, the light of God, will win in the end. The fundamental issue with humanity is one of misunderstanding our true, eternal, spiritual self. The real healing for humanity will take place when people understand they are spiritual beings having a temporary human existence, and that we are interconnected with every living thing on this planet. Our lives are driven by mental and emotional beliefs that are usually based on our upbringing or social narratives that can be incorrect, incomplete, or misguided. We can only hope to shift this perspective by inviting people to connect with their true selves. The question is, how do we help open minds to new awareness, to remove the programming that's been put in their mind? Jesus was a powerful healer and a great teacher who felt so much for so many. In the Chronicles of Hope session, he shared incredible advice with me and taught that people should be as one. He said, in a sense, you are all one. You are all children of the earth. You are all one species. Not all worlds have their own spirit. Gaia is the spirit of this planet and cares for all of you. In some sense, you are all her children. We're all made of her bones while we're in physical form. Jesus says that Gaia is suffering in modern times, yet still strives to spur evolution. Mother Gaia is a good mother who has only love for her children, only the best intentions for them. When humans learn to think for themselves, respect our Mother Earth, and become grateful for all they are given, they will learn to ask for assistance through prayer. When we begin to raise our vibrational energy, we will shift all of humanity to the positive. We need to avoid giving in to fear and trust the guidance of Jesus and other guides to stay ever present in the light of peace through faith. As we remind people of the teachings and messages that he presented thousands of years ago, there is a deep knowing that Jesus, Mother Gaia, and others of the collective are always here to help. We must learn to ask. Jesus tells us that Gaia is alive and cares for humanity. He says if humans need to pray to something more powerful than themselves, let that be Gaia. Gaia is more real than an imaginary god. You can feel her and touch her. She is more powerful than an imaginary god. He tells us that there have been many religions on earth that are based on honoring nature. Even he was connected with nature. At his birth, there was an incredible star, and at his death, there was a solar eclipse. 3 days later, he appeared to his followers. He encourages us to expand our consciousness, to ask for healing for ourselves and others. Some healers are older spirits who are less willing to help themselves. They feel they're here to assist others, and they put the greater good of the others before themselves. Archangel Samael expressed that we must be more understanding of ourselves, each other, and our connection with Gaia. People must stop their robotic lives and return to a more natural pace, a practice Native American and other indigenous cultures have long embraced. The connection with our Earth Mother is deeply ingrained in their history. Mother Gaia can help us to develop our own spiritual self. People need to experience nature with great appreciation. As we ask and truly listen for answers, we will receive inspiration and inner peace. Once we affirm our true identity, old patterns will slowly dissipate, culminating in the fundamental knowing that we need to take better care of ourselves. It's important that we find time in our busy lives to put down the technical devices and connect with nature by going outside, breathing the fresh air, and enjoying the simple things in life. Our children are becoming addicted to technology, and we must teach them to explore all that nature offers. In doing this, we will find ways to discourage conflict, set aside our differences, promote harmony, and truly listen to each other with open hearts and minds. Jesus tells us we're all one people. It doesn't matter where we were born or what we were taught. We are all the same. He didn't know how his message, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, got lost. He says it was such a simple message. Let us strive to return to simplicity. Let us learn to reach out to a trusted friend to help restore our faith. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN Live, 1590 and 95.3 FM. And find me at loisherman.com, and be sure to join our community at chroniclesofhope.net community. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Peter Van Twuyver, holistic physical therapist with a passion for helping others, especially healers. He believes that we all must try to make a change. Trying is actually doing. In all of his spare time, he has created the Self-Care for Healers Summit that takes place April 19th through May 2nd. Let's find out more about this special program that he's offering and about Peter himself. Good morning, Peter. Are you there?
Good morning, Lois.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I am well, thank you. So I know you're interviewing all these people for your summit. So guess what? Today we get to interview you.
I'm on the hot seat.
Yes, you are. So tell us a little bit about your background. I know it's a very varied and interesting background. So I'm going to hush for a minute while you tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, Lois. I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your audience, I should say. And I just want to begin my story about how I became a physical therapist. I injured my back while I was in high school. I was playing street hockey, of all things, a pickup game of street hockey in high school. And I twisted my back and actually caused a fracture and a herniated disc. And that injury, which was pretty brutal, was actually the best thing that ever happened to me. I know it sounds odd, but it was quite the learning experience. And despite the pain and despite the disability that resulted, I was put on my healer's path. I knew at that point that I needed to become a physical therapist to help other people overcome their back issues, which is kind of what I do today for full time. So after that, becoming a physical therapist, I opened up my own practice. I knew that I needed to be in business for myself. I knew that that was the best way I could deliver the health care that I wanted to deliver. So I opened up my own practice in Peabody, Massachusetts, and I had that open for 10 years. And that was quite a learning experience, and that put me on my entrepreneurial path. And so after 10 years of that, I realized that the working with insurance companies was a bit difficult, and it wasn't in alignment with what I wanted to do. So I closed that down, and I started to do other things. So currently, I work full-time as a home care therapist, and so I'm on the front lines. I'm working with people in their homes, making sure they stay safe, making sure they don't fall. And on the side, I do private sessions, and I teach energy work like Reiki and other modalities like that.
So you haven't slowed down through this past year, have you?
No, this is the busiest I've ever been. I work 7 days a week.
Oh my!
And, it's been quite a shift. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about choice and self-care. And I know that the energy around us is transformational. We're all going through a shift. We're all going through changes, and going through that myself, I know that I'm better equipped to help other people go through it as well. That's why we're here. We're here to help other people. I think that's why I'm here.
And that, yes, you're exactly right. There are a lot of the healers are awakening to their purpose, their mission, and they want to help others. But they're also, as I was saying, they're also empathic. So they're feeling all of this dense energy. And I'm sure as you're going into people's homes, you're really feeling it, because you don't have like your own place that you have the energy cleared and it's, it's secure. You're actually going into people's homes. So how has that been for you?
I really enjoy it. Going from an outpatient physical therapy practice where you have to see a certain number of patients to survive financially, that there is a stress there. When I go into somebody's house, I can sit down, I can talk to them, I can ask them what's going on with you, and just focus on them one-on-one, and that's been a godsend for me. It's been an excellent experience. I just like focusing on the one person. Tell me what you need. Tell me what we need to work on. The patient or the client is the teacher. They teach us what they need, but also what we need.
And a lot of times people just need to be listened to. That's one of the things that I'm finding in this day and age. People are isolated and there's no one listening. So just by being there, two things come to mind. One is you're there, you're listening, but also you're there in the physical. Allison and I were just talking about the fact that she was with a group of friends this weekend, and it felt so good to actually be with another person. So many people are so isolated now. Just the fact of being in a physical proximity with another human being that's caring is healing in and of itself.
Yes, the feeling of separation is really difficult, physically, mentally, emotionally, and being able to connect with a person one-on-one when you're feeling isolated like that that's just therapeutic in and of itself.
Yes. So you go into people's houses and you do physical therapy, but you call yourself Structural Bodyworker. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, so I do private sessions, and when I was in private practice, a lot of my clients would get better quickly, and this might sound like ego, but they'd get better quickly to about 80%, 90%, or even 70%. And then I started asking the question, well, what is that other 10, 20, 30%? I know it sounds like ego, but why can't they get to 100%? And some of them did, but most of them get better quickly, but only 80%. And I started to realize that the issues that they were confronting weren't just purely physical. They had emotional and energetic components. Mm-hmm. So as a physical therapist, I worked on the physical, which is predominantly why they were there, but even the client would realize what's missing, what else do I need? Mm-hmm. And that's when I started going into modalities like Reiki and craniosacral therapy and just energetic work to just address that remaining 10, 20, 30%.
Absolutely, because there are four parts to us. There is the physical part that you're working on, and then there's the emotional part that just in being around them with the touch is helping with the emotional part. And then there is the mental part, which I'm sure you're teaching as you go. And the fourth part is the spiritual part. So in order to affect healing 100% healing, we have to address the balance on all four levels, right?
Exactly. So part of it is changing your behavior. So that's, let's back up. Let's consider pain. So pain has a physical component to it. You feel it, it hurts, which leads to an emotional component. It bothers you because there's things you can't do because of this pain, perhaps.
Exactly. Yes.
So there's a disability. And then, so there's a mental piece, there's an emotional piece. And then perhaps there's your circuit, your energy is disrupted as a result. Your circuit is incomplete. That's why acupuncturists are so popular and why it works so well, because something or someone or some action has to restore that circuit. Something has to complete the circuit again once it's disrupted inside the body. The energy, according to the Eastern philosophies like Chinese medicine, energy runs down the outside, so down the outside of the arm, down the outside of the leg, and up the inside. So there's a circular flow there, and it's disrupted if you have pain. It's disrupted if you have problems. So something, someone, some action has to restore that. And if you go into physical therapy, you don't get that. So that's why people seek. They seek, well, I tried this and it didn't work. I tried that and it didn't work. So if you go to a physical therapist and you don't get better, the problem perhaps wasn't predominantly physical. Perhaps it was more emotional or more energetic than it was physical. So maybe you get a little bit better, but you still feel lacking after your sessions are completed. And that's, as healthcare providers, we need to be aware of the other. We don't learn it in school, the other things, the energetic and the emotional components.
And then there's also the educational component, because as healthcare providers, we can help people to a certain degree. However, they have to take ownership for themselves, for their own healing, and to continue the path of sustaining health maintenance. Correct?
Exactly. I love how you put that, ownership. So on one level, I have to make people do what they don't want to do typically, which is change their behavior. So they have to do exercises. They have to maintain strength, flexibility, balance exercises so they don't fall. So it's preventative, but also taking ownership of the issue. It's a lesson. So if you learn the lesson, perhaps the pain goes away, but you still have to take that step, take ownership, take responsibility for your healing, and learn that lesson. And I don't want people to think I fix people.
Right.
That's me shining my armor. Hey, look what I can do. That's not it. If someone seeks me out for healing, it's likely I have had, or currently have, more likely, I still have the same problem, and I've had more experience with it, so I can hold their hand and we walk down the same path, and we're walking the same journey as equals, one helping the other out. And if another thing that people may not realize, if they're coming to me for healing, yes, I help them, but they also help me. There's something they need to say to me that I need to hear, just as much as they need to hear something I have to say.
You're so right. I can't tell you how many times I have learned from my clients. And sometimes that perfect client comes to shine the mirror on me for what I need to know and heal in my own world, or gives me a nugget of information that empowers me to be able to facilitate healing for another. So yes, our clients and patients are oftentimes our best teachers.
So it's all about manifestation, and what we may not realize is that manifestation and healing aren't separate journeys. It's the same journey. So as a healer, I'm manifesting the highest and best healing for my client that I can. Well, if you back up, it's energy. It's an intention. And everything is energy, and energy is everything. That's what Norm Shealy says. He wrote the book Energy Medicine. That's one of his quotes. It's a great quote. So we need intention, and then the next step would be taking ownership. And that's how people heal. So one of the things I believe that I'm supposed to do on this planet, because I believe we all have a purpose, we all have a job, a mission, right? And it's not mission impossible. We chose it. We're here. We have the gifts to achieve that end result. We just have to embrace it. But I believe one of my things that I need to propagate is self-care for healers, and also the platinum ray. The platinum ray is a special gift from the divine to help us heal. So I'm not sure if the audience is aware of the 7 rays of light.
I'm not sure if they are either. I am familiar with them, but I would love for you to share what you know about them. I know you have you're very humbly spoken, and yet I know you have quite a bit of educational background. So please tell us about the 7 rays.
So the 7 rays is based on the work of the 7 steps to precipitation. The book is called The 7 Mighty Elohim Speak by Thomas Prinz, Printz. And it's an amazing work. And there's also another work, a similar work, The 7 Sacred Flames, and that was by Aurelia Louise Jones. And these books talk about the 7 rays of light as they're used for manifestation, healing, and ascension. And so it's almost like a step-by-step process if you look at it. So the first ray would be the color of blue. So consider that color is a very powerful healing modality. In addition to intention, I think the color just helps you focus your intention. Just like if you know Reiki and you use symbols, Reiki isn't all about the symbols. The symbols just help you focus your intention, focus your power.
Absolutely.
For the benefit of the client.
Mm-hmm.
So the first ray is the blue ray, and that the attribute of that ray is courage. It takes courage to step up and say, well, this is what I need to do, and I'm going to go do it. It'd be easier just to sit by and let somebody else do it for you.
It also takes courage to say, hey, I need help.
Yes.
That's a huge amount of courage. A lot of people just shut down or they don't say anything, and it takes courage to say, I'm hurting. Please, I'd like some help.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so there's an intention. Inherently, it implies an intention. Mm-hmm. So the intention takes courage, but starts with the blue ray. Mm-hmm. And then the next step would be the yellow ray.
Okay.
You need some kind of divine illumination or some kind of wisdom to ensure that this process that you're attempting to go through is good for you. Is this in my highest and best interest? Is this for the benefit of me, for the benefit of the world, the planet? Who benefits? So that takes a certain degree of wisdom that maybe isn't innate. It's always hard to look in the mirror and ask yourself the tough questions. It's always easier to go out and ask somebody else, what do you think about this or that, and ask somebody else's opinion. It's so hard for you to make decisions for yourself in some cases, especially with self-healing. It's easier to go out and have somebody else do it for you. It's kind of nice to spend time and money and have somebody else heal me, but at the end of the day, at some point, I'm going to have to take responsibility and do it myself, not to replace the other person, but if it is all about responsibility and ownership, I have to take a stab at it. So that takes wisdom, illumination. The next step after that, the third ray, is the pink ray, and we need to increase our vibration. We need to be grateful, and all processes start with love. You need to love yourself to be able to self-heal. You need to have a sense of gratitude for the opportunity for this learning experience, and that gives you the energy to continue, because it is work. It is energy that you're expending to self-heal or to manifest something that you feel that you need. The next step after that, the next ray, would be the white ray, and as you're starting your journey, you need a sense of clarity. Mm. What is it exactly that I need? So you have an intention, you have the courage to start, you have wisdom to kind of refine the process. Is this good for me? Then have gratitude and love that just starts the engine. That's the ignition. And then you need to start, you need to go. You need to start down that path and start the process. There has to be some clarity there, some harmony within you that enables it to propagate, to move down that path. And in doing so, the next ray would be the green ray, the next step, as it were. There's healing as a result. You're learning truth, and that's the green ray. As a result of this process, you take a glimpse at who you truly are, and that propagates it further. There's a healing process there, and the healing process results in bringing up the difficulty, you confront your fear, you confront your issues. It's uncomfortable. And in doing so, you need to transmute it. So interestingly, the next ray isn't the sixth ray, it's the seventh ray. You need to transmute the negativity. You need to unload the old baggage that you carry, mm-hmm. so that you can have the energy to continue. You can reach your end goal. And as a result, you achieve the sixth ray, the ruby ray, the gold ray. Some people call it ruby gold. And that results in tranquility and peace. The result of this process is you're at peace. You've done what you needed to do. You've achieved your goal, and that's kind of that you reach after all that work. Job well done.
That's fascinating. Now, do you do the rays in specific order? Is the order important? Because what I'm hearing is the colors of the chakras, the 7 chakras. And when I do Reiki, I actually call on the different colors of the different chakras. So the chakras represent exactly what you're talking about. So I'm familiar with that. But the ray itself, are you suggesting, or in the practice that you're doing, do you step through the colors or the rays in that sequence?
It doesn't follow the order of the chakras going from 1 to 7. No,
Sure.
It's an excellent question. Each of these 7 rays do correspond exactly with a specific chakra, not necessarily based on the color of the ray, but based on the attribute. So if you have an intention, if you're setting an intention, you need to voice that intention. There has to be some kind of expression of that intention. That's the action. That takes courage. That's your 5th chakra. That's the throat.
Mm-hmm.
You have to express it.
Right.
And then illumination. You need some wisdom imparted to you to ensure that that's in your highest and best interest. That's the crown chakra. That's chakra number 7. That's the next step. Having love and gratitude for the process, embracing the process with love and gratitude, that's the 4th chakra. That's where love is experienced. But having clarity, harmony especially, your root chakra has to be in balance for that to happen. That's the 1st chakra. And then healing and truth, that's intuitive. It's almost intuitive. That would be your 6th chakra, your 3rd eye. Then the next step would be transmutation, the 7th ray. So it goes a little bit out of order. So the ray progression would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, which doesn't necessarily make sense. But if you describe the attributes, transmutation has to happen first before you can achieve tranquility. Otherwise, you're still in a transmutation process. You don't get that till you've finished your work.
Until you've balanced all chakras or balanced all the rays. And I also understand that each ray has an archangel that is associated with the ray. Is that correct?
Yes. So to have the courage to embark on this process, that's Archangel Michael. You need a sense of safety.
He's
that's
blue.
Michael,
he's the blue, yes.
And protection. So that's Michael. To have illumination and wisdom, that's typically Jophiel. Jophiel is one of the angels that can help you with divine wisdom and that connection to God, the God source. Shamuel is an excellent angel for love, the next ray, pink. Self-love especially.
Right.
Clarity and harmony, that's Gabriel. There's a message there. You have to learn harmony. That's a special gift, almost a message, as it were. That's Gabriel. And of course, healing has always been, and the color green has always been associated with Raphael. That's an easy one to understand.
Yes.
Zadkiel is associated with purple and transmutation, transformation. That's the angel associated with the 7th ray, the violet ray.
Yes.
And last but not least, but it's not the last because I'm getting to ray number 8 in a minute. The gold ray is Uriel. Gold is associated with Uriel, and Uriel teaches us peace and tranquility.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So we have these rays, and they've been around for a while. This isn't new. It's just perhaps the concept may be new if you haven't learned it yet. They've been available to mankind for perhaps centuries, maybe perhaps as long as we've been around. Although, Thomas Prince's book hasn't been around. When was that?
I know I have a book called The 7 Archangels Speak, and it's from the 70s. I believe it's out of print, but it talks about the different archangels and the ray that they're associated with. You explain it beautifully. I love the way you've explained it. Thank you. And I also like the concept of, and Jesus is the one that said that the healers are not taking care of themselves. They are actually, I'm sorry, it was Archangel Samael that said the problem is the healers, a lot of the wounded healers they're not taking care. They're giving of themselves to the exclusion of self-care. And I think that's one of the things that you have discovered on your journey. as I have a lot of clients that come to me that are wounded healers, and they're giving up on helping others because they have become so permeated by the dense energy, and they're not taking the time for self-care, which leads into this wonderful summit that you've decided to host. So in all your spare time, working 7 days a week, teaching and helping people with their physical and mental, emotional, and energetic parts of them, can you tell us a little bit about your healing, our self-care for the Healers Summit that you've planned?
Yes. So I also work with a lot of healers in my part-time work. I work for myself. I teach healers, and I see healers and patients, clients privately. And a lot of them over the past year especially have mentioned, I feel stuck. I don't know what to do next. And there's some fear associated with that. And it's not just healers. Perhaps it's everybody, because there's a transformational energy that we're all feeling. It's compressive, oppressive. Time is speeding by. Time is sped up enormously. And when there's rapid change like that, there's always some kind of fear associated with that, because, like I said, people don't know what to do. They don't know what to do next. And I don't know about you, but healers are especially good at healing other people, but not necessarily healing themselves. And that's a lesson. You mentioned Archangel Samael. In book Chronicles of Hope, Book 2, we learn the lesson of understanding.
Yes.
So that Samael imparts, and that is something I'd like to champion, or at least get the word out that we need to heal ourselves first, so that we can heal others. We can't be depleted and attempt to heal somebody else.
And part of that
Another
is
thing,
also the understanding, and he also brought a lesson of discernment, that there are those, and Jesus did the same, there are those that we can't heal. If they're not ready to be healed, we can do nothing for them. And that's a big challenge for a lot of healers, especially in this time where there's a lot of speaking of and talk of moving from the third dimensional reality to the fifth dimension. There are a lot of people who are on an accelerated journey of awakening, and as we accelerate, there are a lot of people who are kind of stuck in that third dimension, and it's like, I often say, you can't jump into the water to rescue someone who's drowning. You throw them a lifeline, but it's up to them to take the lifeline. So a lot of healers are trying to save family members and other people, and it's really, they're drowning in it.
It's all about free will and choice. So part of that issue that we talked about initially is, responsibility or ownership of the issue. We can't force someone else to heal, to conform to our expectations, the individual, the client, the healer. It's a choice. It's free will. We can't overcome their free will. So that's, like you said, discernment and Samael's message of understanding, or in this case, perhaps even the yellow ray, the ray number 2. You need discernment, illumination, wisdom, or whatever word you'd like to use to describe it. Is it in their highest and best interest? Is it in my highest and best interest? Discernment is huge.
Absolutely, and a lot of times I have learned that the discernment comes in the asking. I have learned to ask my guides and have learned to listen, and they give me the answers through signs, through messages, through feelings and insights, so that when I'm questioning, I reach to my guides for answers. And this is part of what, the messages that Jesus taught and other of our great teachers, that we are here, that the healing comes through us, and it is up to the person for their free will. We cannot interfere with free will, nor can the guides. They don't interfere with our free will either. They're standing by saying, just ask me. I'm happy to help, but you have to ask. And we can't force people to ask.
That's true. Because you had mentioned try versus do.
Yes.
So I guess trying versus doing, that's all about intention and clarity, having a clarity of focus, a clarity of intention. Asking is at the very least trying, which I think is doing. So if it can't be an intention where, well, let me see if this is going to work. Let me try this, and I'm going to dip my toe in the water to see if it's too cold. No, that's not even trying or doing. That's a big maybe, and maybe doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So trying meaning I'm going to try my best, and this is what I expect to see, or this is my intention. That's trying. That's trying. That's doing. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that does make sense.
So I know people may have different concepts of trying versus doing, and maybe it's semantics, but
we've heard the phrase from Yoda. There is no try, there is do or do not. There is no try, and yet you're defining the word try in different ways. I mean, try is like, yeah, well, maybe I'll try. That's the try that Yoda's talking about. But what you're saying is, I'm really going to try this. I'm going to put some effort into it. I may not be perfect at it, but at least I'm going to try. I like that. That's a very different type of energy.
Try is not necessarily forcing a specific outcome, because you may be surprised by the outcome. So you give it a try, you do your best, and then the outcome isn't what you expected. That's okay. The outcome is in your highest and best interest. It may not be what you're expecting, and that's okay. That's totally fine. You get what you need out of the process. So you don't want to try and force a specific outcome. That doesn't work either.
I know in many times in my prayers, I'm praying for the highest and best, because I don't presume to know an outcome. My intention is for healing, and sometimes I've had clients where the healing was on a spiritual level, and yet they were ready to pass over. So if my intention was, I want to help them to heal their physical body, that would have been perceived as failure. But if my intention was them to heal on whatever level they needed, leaving it wide open, they've been able to heal on the spiritual level, which then they were able to drop the robes, as it were, and leave the physical body behind. So it's not, as a healer, it's not for us to presume what the healing outcome is. It's as long as the intention is pure and it's for the highest and best, then the ultimate outcome for that person's destiny will unfold.
Mm-hmm. So try has an implied allow. That you have to try and allow. You can't do and force. This is how I think. I'm not saying this is gospel, but trying just kind of infers. There's an inference that I'm allowing the highest and best outcome to happen. If I'm doing and forcing the issue, I know what I'm doing. Look at me. Let me show you what I can do. That could be ego-based,
right? And
may not come to fruition. So you want to try with the intention of allowing whatever happens.
Absolutely, and allowing an acceptance of what happens, because it's always a step, and then every day is a new day to allow for a new and different outcome.
Absolutely. So you had mentioned teachers, and of course your book too is just amazing with the different teachers that come in to teach us hope. My summit, Self-Care for Healers, is an intention to bring together 20 different teachers that can help us with different facets of self-care and teach us lessons, teach us self-care techniques that healers can readily use to help themselves heal. Because we, like we mentioned before, we have to heal ourselves first, and then we're able to go out and help others.
Absolutely. I know that I recorded a presentation for your summit, and as I started thinking about what do the healers need, I ended up getting a little long-winded because I basically merged two different presentations that I've done in the past there's so many different things we can do. We just have to choose to do something, and different things resonate for different people. Yet we all need to take some sort of an action for our own self-care.
Well, you had a number of different techniques that are very valuable, and I would say not long-winded. I would say thorough, and there's a number of valuable pearls of wisdom there that I'm sure the audience will benefit from.
I hope so. As long as, to my way of thinking when I do a presentation, it's about if this helps one person, then my effort was worth it. And that's the same with what you're doing. You're helping if we can help the healers, then who knows who they're helping? Because each of us has our own different skills, gifts, and talents. And as we offer our gifts to others, then we can facilitate healing for other people. So we need to help the healers. So you have 20 people who are doing presentations, and you're going to be offering them to people. And this program is, am I understanding correctly that it's free?
Yes. So I have room to put out 1 to 2 recorded sessions per day. And so around 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll publish 1 or 2 per day from April 19th to May 2nd. It's free to view for 24 hours, and then I have to take those down and put something else out. Mm-hmm. So it does require people to tune in and take advantage of that. But there will be an opportunity to purchase the entire series for a nominal fee if you like them and you want to keep them and have permanent access. That is possible. But the way that the website's set up, and we're still working on it, it's almost up, that I have room for basically 1 or 2 per day, and then I have to take them down and put something else out the next day.
So how will people be able to find your summit?
Yes, so the website is selfcareforhealerssummit.com.
Okay. And how do they find you?
My website is platinumrayacademy.com.
And what is the platinum ray? You didn't speak about that. That's the ultimate ray. Is that correct?
So we're aware of at least 8 rays at this point, and I'm sure there's more, but we're just not vibrationally advanced enough to acknowledge them or be able to access them. So the platinum ray, and thanks for bringing that up, the platinum ray is the 8th ray of light, where we're familiar with the 7 rays now. There is the 8th ray that has been available and hidden in plain sight. So if you look into Thomas Prince's book, The 7 Mighty Elohim Speak, he talks about the I Am presence is connected to the physical body by the silver cord. Mm-hmm. And so that's the platinum ray hidden in plain sight. There's another teacher that's talked about the platinum ray for a long time, Alton Camadon, who has passed. He's the founder of the Melchizedek method, and he talks about how within the platinum ray, ray number 7, there's a silver goddess ray embedded in it. And the silver goddess ray is the platinum ray. So it's been hidden in plain sight, as it were. We've had access. We've known it's there. It's just been difficult for us to access it because the way to access the platinum ray is to go through the other 7 steps, and you have to be vibrationally high enough. You have to go through the transmutation. You can't get to ray 8 without going through ray 7 and then achieving ray 6. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And and we're continuing to learn and to grow as we use these different rays. And I know we're talking metaphorically, if you will, about the rays. How do you use the rays? How do you apply? I mean, even if just starting with ray 1, is it something that you visualize? Is it an energy that you wash through your body? How do you use and apply the different rays?
That's an excellent question, and thank you for asking. It depends on how much time I have. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest. So the platinum ray is associated with the 8th chakra. And the 8th chakra has been known to humans for centuries. The shamans use the 8th ray. One of my teachers, Alberto Bioldo, who wrote Grow a New Body, he's with the 4 winds. His shamanic school is known as the 4 winds. And he talks about utilizing the 8th ray and just kind of surrounding yourself. You pull the energy of the 8th ray down around your body and use that as like a light body, a Merkaba, as it were, to transcend time and space, which is very healing. So in my opinion, the eighth chakra, the eighth ray, the platinum ray, is the highest level of healing, the highest vibration healing that we can use right now on the planet. It has been the violet ray, and that's still excellent and still necessary. Just if we're talking about self-care and what do I do next, well, the next step is the platinum ray. And that's a very easy breezy way to access that energy. The platinum ray of the eighth chakra is all about purification. Another way of thinking of it is fulfillment of your soul contract. So your soul contract, or why you're here, or perhaps your soul, if you consider that perhaps you're a starseed and you've been put here, or you have chosen to be here, I should say, for a specific mission that you've chosen, and you embrace that starseed concept. The information that you need is housed in the eighth ray. That's where the platinum ray is. So the platinum ray is purification, the next step after transmutation and tranquility and peace. It's like if you take out negative energy out of somebody's aura, somebody's being, potentially there is a gaping hole there.
Right.
And what do you fill it with?
Absolutely.
What do you fill? You have to put in the good, right? So that's purification. That is unconditional love. Not exactly the same as ray 3, the pink energy of love and gratitude. Self-love is a basic lesson. Purification is unconditional love, universal love. It transcends the other 7 rays, and the only way to purify is through unconditional love. We're born of, made from, a part of unconditional love, and society teaches us that we're separate, and we have to embrace that there is no separation. That's an illusion. We have to embrace unconditional love, and that's how you self-purify. That's how you achieve purification. And also, in doing that, you achieve your soul contract. So the self-care technique is, you just like if you're trying to access self-love, you bring your awareness to your heart center and control your breathing. I would do that first. That just makes sense. And then I know Greg Braden and the Heart Math people have been excellent at putting out the concept of connecting the heart to the brain. So you want to do that as well.
I'm also finding that we are earth beings, so connecting to Mother Gaia and bringing her energy up is really critical in this time-space as well. And I wanted to share, Peter, we have only 1 minute left, so I thank you for being my guest. This was fabulous, fabulous information. We'll have to have you back on, and I look forward to being a part of and sharing information about your summit. Do you have any last 30-second word of advice?
Yeah, just embrace that eighth chakra, pull it down, surround yourself with the energy, and just experience it. Something amazing may happen.
Wonderful. Thank you so, so very much. Thank all of the listeners for being here. Until next week, please look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day. God bless.